things.
Hi, welcome to Comic Book Wars, the podcast, the comicbookspeculation.com podcast. I'm Jimmy Linguini. This is episode 35. I'm joined by a cockroach and Keith. Keith is a great guy, and Jawn couldn't make it today, which is kind of unfortunate, but we have Keith filling in. And I can call Nico a cockroach because right before we started, he said he was a cockroach. He said it like 4 times, so I can say that. It's not offensive. And I think it's a great way to start. Nico, why don't you introduce yourself? Nico, what, are you all upset all of a sudden?
I'm Nico. I was your weekend update correspondent for
Now he's mad.
comicbookspeculation.com.
Come on, Nico.
But Jimmy can't send me enough free comics to get me to write this week's fucking article. I'd like to thank Keith for being here on my last podcast.
What's going on, all? I'm Keith, filling in for Sleepy John. Glad to be here. Thank you.
It's good to have you here.
Yeah, I'm happy you're here. We put together quite an outline, and we already
By we, you mean who?
Did I say? Well, sorry, you put together a fantastic outline. I meant to say slideshow.
Not good enough. Keep going, Jimmy.
Well, I meant to say slideshow, but we'll get into that. Right? Am I wrong? Because like the slideshow starts with this.
Jimmy uses PowerPoint. It's very exciting.
It's not PowerPoint. See, this is why you got to be so upset at me? I just said things that you said, right? I didn't make up names. Keith knows what I'm saying.
The real question is like, when will the bidding war for all of the other podcasts begin? Yeah, we'll see if I can get residuals. Let's go.
You want to talk about this a little bit, Nico?
Yeah, we had a really nice interview on Nico Time, our last interview on Nico Time. That was this past Saturday with a special guest, Steve Borak. He is the CEO of CBCS, and I think you'll really enjoy it if you get the time. He talks about the development of the company and his experience, over 50 years in the comic book industry. It was a joy to have him, and we are eternally grateful. He has agreed to spend some time on Nico Time in the future. So super excited about that.
Yeah, he seemed really excited about it because I saw he kept posting it all over the place. So it was good times.
No, it was actually a very nice interview. I enjoyed watching it. You did a great job, Nico.
Thanks, buddy.
And I noticed that most of the videos you've done have been like an hour, and you usually had to like stretch them out and like had to keep them there. But this one, he seemed to like really enjoy it. So yeah, it was really good.
No, I think the other
is this
one.
how the whole podcast is going to be? Is he just going to ignore me the whole time? Is that what we're doing today? It's very grown up.
He'll be excited once people start, chiming in on the live chat.
Is this what we're doing? Is this how the podcast is going? Okay, great podcast.
That's true. That's true.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So this week, I guess the Morbius trailer finally dropped. Did you guys get to catch that?
Yes, I did. I actually, I wasn't impressed with it, but I wasn't disappointed either. I was, kind of in between. It seems like it could be something decent. As it stands right now, I'll go see it at the theater.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys this question. What do you think about the Sony Spider-Verse now being an extension of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? I mean, it appears from the poster that we see in the trailer that Sony and Marvel have learned to play well together again for the time being. We've heard news that this will be where they launch the Sinister Six, that we'll begin to see the breadcrumbs coming out in this film. And we've already started to see the Amazing Spider-Man Annual #1 start to move on eBay. I'm kind of interested in seeing what other characters they're going to roll out.
So when you say Amazing Spider-Man, and can we just so there's been a few books, right? And I want to talk about that one. But the first one was.
Before you get into that, what's you guys' opinion of the trailer and what the movie looks like? We kind of just bypass that right after the.
Yeah, I wasn't super impressed. I'll be honest. But I enjoyed Venom. A lot of people didn't. I'm a Tom Hardy homer. I don't know if that had something to do with it. It certainly wasn't high cinema, but it was okay. I
think though, you might be biased for Venom because you sold all those Venom. There was one Venom book you sold, and I couldn't believe it. Right? Those free, Keith, you saw it. You know those free Venom freebies that they gave away
at the movie
theater? Yeah. Now I didn't go to see Venom at the theater, which I am kicking myself about because one of the first messages I got from this guy was, "How much do you think I should sell this for?" And it was I think it was a 0.5. I could be wrong. Let me finish before you correct me. It was a 0.5 of the free one, but it was all miscut. So it was almost cut halfway through, but it was just a miscut of it. And
it was cut into a V for Venom.
And how much did you sell? You sold it for a few $100, no?
I sold it for more than that.
Yeah, the price you said to me, I said
to you, it was $600-700.
I said to you that the book was worth nothing, and that I can't believe that somebody graded that. And you just said somebody offered me $700 for this. I was like, whoa, you're selling that? Yeah, no, that's insane. So
yeah, if
that happened to me,
people, yeah, you're right.
I could see that new Cats movie, and I would think it's amazing. So, but yeah, sorry to interrupt your.
No, that's true.
No.
I think I colors people's experience. So does Good Fortune. I did really good.
It does sound kind of familiar. I think Nico had told me about that book once before, just in prior private conversation. It does sound a little bit familiar now that you brought that up, Jimmy.
Yeah, and then
the freebie books are amazing, but to get a bunch of them, great idea, fine, whatever. If they leave them out, that's fine. But to start grading them and to grade the miscut ones and get a premium for them, that was just made me go what is this guy doing? Anyways, I wish I had a picture of it because the picture you sent me of it was the dumbest thing ever. And some people.
Now, Nico, did you send that out to get graded, or did you buy it graded?
Oh no, okay. I graded it myself. Yeah.
Nice.
And I probably have about 20-40 copies of the regular book left. Maybe sold 20-40 of them on eBay. I don't know. Or it shows somewhere. Yeah, I did really well on the Venom books, but I liked. I went back and bought all that stuff later, right? I went back after the opening weekend where they were giving them out for free, and just talked to my local cinema manager and offered him cash and purchased them all from him.
My local cinema manager. Okay.
I don't know what to call him. The nice lady.
No, that makes sense. You asked an employee at the theater and you offered them money. That makes sense. How much did you?
The hell with getting little kids and younger generations involved in experienced comic books. We have Nico that comes in and scoops them all up so no one else can have them, so he can make a buck.
Nico offered money, whereas I'm sure somebody else or maybe even an employee would have just come and taken stacks at a time. I mean,
he says he offered money.
No, I paid cash. They had a whole box, and I bought one whole plastic bundle. So I left a lot of them there.
Okay.
How much did you pay?
Not much. I want to say.
Yeah. Okay. No, you don't have to. You don't have to. But I it was a rude thing to ask. I apologize.
And no shame in my game.
But yeah. So sorry. I hope they give away another free book for this one. That would actually make me go to the theater. I didn't watch the trailer because I know I'm going to watch the movie no matter what. I enjoyed Venom. I know it wasn't the greatest movie, but I mean, come on, we're not asking for I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what a great movie is to say that we're looking for, but I mean, I'm sure it's going to be fun, so I'm not too worried about it. You guys want to talk about the books though a little bit?
Yeah.
So, first appearance of Crown. Why did you send me this?
I think is his name.
Okay.
Matt Smith is apparently going to play this character. Now, that hasn't been confirmed, but it's been heavily rumored for a long time. If you've watched the podcast, we've talked about this book in the past. Hopefully, you've got a stack of them. What's up?
Oh, I'm sorry. This was one of the first rumored books, speculated books on the Morbius movie.
It
might have even been the first one besides regular Morbius books in itself, like his first appearance and origin, things like that. I think this is the first one outside of a Morbius appearance that was speculated on this movie. So
I thought it was that Tyrese was supposed to be this guy, right? Like that was the first rumor, was that people thought it was going to be Tyrese.
That might be true. I'm not 100% certain.
Yeah, and then they talked about Tyrese playing Man-Wolf for a long time, but I don't know if that's gone pretty much nowhere.
Okay. The other book is that you mentioned a little bit was the Spider-Man Annual 1, which is a book that's been going up in the last 2-3 years. Amazing Spider-Man Annual #1, the first appearance of Sinister Six.
Yeah. Let me see. We had a sale on eBay. It was a CGC 5.5. And let me tell you what it sold for. $1,399 that moved on eBay in the last 24, 48 hours. There was a 7.5 that I was looking at that they promptly pulled down. So I wasn't able to grab it. I thought it was at a real good price. And there were maybe a dozen raw copies that moved over the course of the last few days. Again, the rumor mill is strong. I think people have increased confidence that this book, for example, is going to start to move, and that we'll see a Sinister Six film roll out of the Morbius film, that the breadcrumbs are beginning there.
I'll tell you what, this is actually not that easy of a book to find. Now, you can go on eBay, yes. What I'm talking about is actually out. I work at a comic store on the weekend, on Saturdays. And it's a big store. They get a lot of big collections in. A lot of times they get early Spider-Mans. I've been there for 4 years. I've never seen this book come in there yet.
Wow.
And we've had AF-15, Spider-Man 1, a couple of them. The 2 doesn't come in that often, but you see the early issues, but you never see the annual. It's actually not that easy of a find, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's a real cool book, particularly since it's giant size. We all know how hard that makes them. And I just like it. I'm not somebody who can drop 10K or, whatever on an ASM1 or, more on an AF-15. This is a book that's in my price range.
I had the chance to pick up a nice 8.0 raw, probably about a year and a half ago, for $1,500 or $1,800, and I passed on it.
Wow!
And I've been kicking myself ever since. I thought the book was going to plateau off, where I'd have a little bit of time. I didn't want to buy it at its high point, but that ship sailed right now.
Yeah, and there's a Canadian price variant for this book too, right, Jimmy?
Yeah,
it's not a price
variant. We talked about that.
Well, it's a Canadian. It's an edition. Yeah, the Canadian.
Oh, it's just a Canadian, and it's got a blank back.
Yeah, that's how you can tell, because the ads are different. Because there was some kind of, I think there was some kind of law going on or something. I don't know, man.
It was a blank back cover, I believe, and a blank interior front cover. Is that correct?
Yeah, the ads are taken out. They're just blank instead. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. Another book that seems to be going up is Amazing Spider-Man 101.
It's just been all over the board. There's been like 24 copies. Here's kind of the reason I put this in the outline. So, do you think people are buying this book by and large because of the indication that there's probably going to be a sequel that Morbius is now part of, tangentially at the very least, the MCU? Or are people just actually buying this book because they liked the trailer, or they've never heard of it before? I don't understand that phenomenon. Do you think it's a confluence of all those circumstances, or what, guys?
Can I interject here and ask? I didn't check the GPA on this book. Is this book actually going up right now, or is it down in comparison to when news first broke of this? Because I actually have a 9.2, and I remember it being around 1,800. Last time I checked, it's around 1,400 for a 9.2. Is this down further than the original announcement, or is the book projecting up? I don't like the new GPA because you can't see all the up and down arrows everywhere.
And it's hard to look stuff up.
Exactly. So I generally don't anymore unless I have to. But I didn't know if anyone did any research on this and could say for sure, hey, this is actually projecting up in most grades or kind of, laying still.
Yeah, I don't know. The extent of my knowledge is it's been a downward spiral for the last 9 months or so, maybe longer. But I'm just kind of curious as to whether or not you think the surge in interest is because of the Spider-Man poster almost exclusively, or do you think people like the movie, or do you think it's kind of a combination of both? How many guys are actually going out there and being like, oh, Spider-Man, I'll spend $1,000 or whatever, $500 on a copy of this book, because they're moving in huge numbers on eBay. I mean, huge numbers.
It's a good book to have regardless. So
yeah.
People that are spending a couple $100 on a mid-grade copy, mid-high grade copy, I want to say like 7.0s are around 500-600-ish. Even a 5.0 or whatever, if you're spending $300-400, I think that's a good book. It's always been a key. It's always been. It's part of the Amazing Spider-Man run, so it's always going to retain.
It was a key book when I was a little kid.
Yeah. I mean, it may not, double or triple in value. Who knows? But it's always going to slowly go up, at least the minimum.
Yeah, the other thing that's interesting for me is, I guess, do we think we're going to get like a halfway decent creative team on a Morbius comic now that Sony and Marvel are playing nice? Because it's been a long time since I've read anything that I've enjoyed about Michael Morbius.
I have no input on that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Bud.
Fair enough.
mean, what would make you think that they would put an 18 on it? What's your opinion?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Just Marvel plays the kind of favorite game, right? Like they've got Hickman on X-Men because the X-Men are coming out. Mm-hmm. Jason Aaron goes to books. Cates goes to books that are Marvel Cinematic Universe books. And I'm just wondering, with Feige in charge of creative at Marvel, if all of the characters that are appearing on, this big or small screen are going to start to see their A-list writers or A-list artists on.
As Sleepy John would say, interesting.
Yeah, you've lost me. Let's get off Morbius, I guess. We're still talking about Morbius? I don't even feel like we're talking about Morbius anymore. You've lost me, Nico. Any other comments?
No, I have that effect on people.
You cockroach.
Did they get lost?
Just bored, basically. Kind of tuned me out.
I didn't tune you out. I just got lost. I got lost in the sauce. And you shouldn't get lost in the sauce. There was a trailer for Locke and Key that came out this week?
Yeah, I loved it. I'm super excited. I'm a big fan of Joe Hill's work. Enjoyed the Locke and Key books. I read those when I was getting back into comics the first time, before an exit, and they were near and dear to my heart, man. I thought it was a great story. And I really like the fact that they're doing this on Netflix. I've got a lot of faith in the project. Those books were about $250 in 9.8. Now they're trading hands at the $325, $350 mark on eBay. I think the big one to get is the 1 in 10 Welcome variant, and there's no copies to be found when you do see them, people just want an astronomical price tag for them. Now, I didn't get a chance to look at the census on those books, but that's the one that you want to commit to memory because they're ones that not a lot of people know about, and if you see them, you can snag them for cheap.
You would think that they would start appearing on eBay and everything else, considering how close the show is, because generally people's idea is to dump stuff about 2 weeks prior.
Right, bring them to market.
We're not that far away from here, so I would expect, if there's nothing in the market right now,
one copy popped up on eBay recently. Yeah, okay. It was, they want $2,000 or $3,000 or something for a CGC Signature Series 9/8.
Was it signed by Joe Hill?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. And that's strong in and of itself. Do
you have any number 1 9/8s or anything, Nico?
I'm sitting on a 9/8 of the first print. I was sitting on a couple of them, but I think I'm down to one. I was buying them at $250, as many as I could get my hands on. I tend to think that we may be in a situation like we were with Umbrella Academy, where or The Boys, where the Netflix series will bring new readers to the book or bring old collectors back to the book. I don't know that we're going to see the huge escalation in prices because the market's kind of soft right now. But I do expect for there to be some growth and certainly for copies to move. So I'll wait for the show to hit and then probably dump my copy.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a window though with this one, because with all the Netflix stuff, because they release the full season all at once. Yeah. So in like 4 months, nobody will care.
Well, The Boys maintained its price a heck of a lot better than Umbrella Academy. That's because The Boys, there's going to be there's going to be another season, and I don't think a lot of people have Amazon Prime. I know I signed up for it just for The Boys, and I think that's what maybe has taken people longer to discover it and what's helped maintain the value. Whereas with Netflix, I think everybody has it, and I think that might hurt the book long term. Yeah, and the other thing I think that really helps is the second season's coming quick, right? Like there's this huge gap with the Umbrella Academy. When it's the Boys, they've already began filming. They may be done filming by now.
I think they finished season 3, filming season 3.
Right. So awesome. There we go. Strong.
The other trailer that came out this week was for October Faction, which comes out at the end of the month. I think I'm sitting on 1 copy. This is a tough book. They're all black covers too. So good luck.
But, I got a ton of them.
Did you guys watch the trailer of this?
I didn't get a chance to catch it.
Yeah, it looks good.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah, it looks good. I like the female actress lead. I think it looks sharp. Now, I don't know. Who knows, right? Like, it could be that every good scene is in the trailer and the show hits and it's the next V-Wars. But for the time being, I'm hopeful.
Well, the trailers for V-Wars were pretty trash.
Were they? Okay.
Yeah, they weren't. They didn't make it look good.
Yeah, Nico, you said... Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, please.
Oh, no. I was going to say, you said you're sitting on tons of these. I would get rid of them soon.
I mean, that's a little bit of an exaggeration. I've got a 9/8 of both covers.
Why are you exaggerating to us, huh?
Well, I've got a 9/8 of both covers, and I've got raw copies of the number 1, and then maybe like the first series or 2 probably still, unless people have picked them out of my boxes. I remember reading that book. It was one of the first books I read when I got back in this time after I heard the news, and I liked it. And I don't read much IDW stuff, so we shall see.
Cool. I wish you luck.
Thanks. Yeah.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Oh, shit.
That's a nice
Straight into that one. Yeah. You were there for that.
I was the one who took it.
He's the one who sent me that picture. Okay, so yeah, now it's time for Nico Time.
I was the one who took that.
Are you ready for Nico Time?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's your first book.
Nice. All right. So ASM 30198 moves for 1,300 and change. This is a tough 9/8. Keith, you can attest to that fact, correct?
Yeah, it's been $1,000 9/8 for multiple years. It actually was higher in 9/8 than the 300 at one point. Now we're going back a couple years, but
there's 163 copies of this book in 9/8 condition on the census. There's been over 2,500 copies of the book slabbed in total.
I'm actually surprised there's that many 9/8s actually.
Yeah,
for what this commands.
The average price in 2019 was $1,100. That's down. The 90-day average is a little over $1,000. And this sold for $1,097. I'm sorry, I undermarked that. Here's what's interesting. Keith's 100% right. The average price, 18 sales in 2018, was closing in on $1,500.
Yeah, it's a tough book. I thought I came close to finding one, and then the back cover just, I had a perfect front cover. I'm like, oh, this is the one. This is going to be, and as soon as I took it out of the bag and board, I'm like, F my life.
It's one of the few books that I have people actually ask me for at shows, right? Like they'll be like, I want a 30198. And then they, of course, want to pay nothing for it.
That's the way it always is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but I think they think that like they can like get somebody like, I'll give you $400 or $300.
Well, you know what? You do the same. I do the same.
Yeah.
I mean,
I admire it. But the point is, people are hip to it and they want them. It's a gorgeous cover. White books are hard, and I like it. I certainly like it at this price tag, although I can't say that I'm necessarily going to shell out $1,000 in hopes that it returns to the $1,500 mark in 2020. Now, this is an interesting book, right? So here we've got a Detective Comics 359 that sold for $1,800. Jimmy, can you see those prices? Can anybody see the prices better than me? $1,800 and change?
Yeah, it's $1,809. You sent me these pictures, so you should know the prices, no?
I did, in fact, send you the pictures. Thanks, Jimmy. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
There's been 1,900 copies of this book slabbed. When you get to the 80 mark, it's where the census really starts to tick down. In other words, that's where there's less than 100 copies, 99 books in 80 condition. Let me see if I can do this right here. All right.
What's happening, Jimmy?
I'm trying to give you guys the actual figures.
I'm trying to have a conversation with him while we wait.
Hold on.
Insanity. This is a great podcast.
You ready?
I'm ready.
There was a copy of this book that sold in 80 condition that was slightly miscut. Okay. For $2,800 in 2017.
Yeah, that book was on fire then. It's
absolutely on fire.
Back then, it's coming down.
It's come way down.
The lower grades have come way down. Now, higher grades, like when you're at the 8.5 is actually an upper grade for this book. 8.5, 9.0, 9.2, 9.4. You're still going to retain a lot of your value. You might be down a little bit, but I just
8.5 mark. Hold on, the 8.5 mark. You're exactly right. Sold for $3,500 in March of 2019.
Yep,
that is the jumping off point.
Oh yeah, because like all the lower grades, I just got a 3.5 back, and it's actually worth less now than what I paid for the book initially. So I'm just gonna wait for that thing to jump back up if it does, to recoup my money.
Yeah. Now, you like this book as a medium or long-term investment play, Keith?
Oh no, this is definitely a long play. This book is just not an easy find in high grade. It's a beloved character, number one, so there's always going to just be retaining value just for that. It's tough as nails cover because it's all dark. There's not a lot of places to hide defects unless you're talking the checkered border up along the top. Anywhere else, it's like looking at an Action Comics 242. Any kind of cover damage, it's very noticeable. And but I think the high grades on these books, on this particular book or whatever, will always retain their value. And as people keep them in their collections, they'll keep setting marks on this book, I think.
Jimmy, thoughts?
No, I agree with Keith. So the third book you had, was there anything else on that one?
No.
First Batgirl?
I like it. Yeah, I thought whoever did that purchase, they stole it.
The third book you had was Batman 15, CGC 55, that sold for just over $1,000. $1,000 and what? Yeah, $1,009.
All right, so everybody already gets why this is a cool book. Batman using a Gatling gun. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's also an early Batman, so I'm surprised it sold so cheap.
It sold super cheap. There's only 171 copies of this book in any grade on the census. A lowly 15 copies in 5.5 condition with, I'm sorry, 14 copies in 5.5 condition with, like maybe 40 copies that are higher. I think it's a super cool purchase, but I was kind of shocked by GPA. So there was a 6.0 that sold for $1,400 in December of this year, a 6.5 that sold for $1,100 in December of this year. And I think it's a book to pay attention for. Apparently, they're moving it at a low price tag, and there's not many copies out there. I got a buddy, John Z from the Flip Side, that put this on his books I want to buy in 2020 list. Incidentally, I'll be on Tales from the Flip Side talking about comics on Monday. So if you've never seen that podcast, you should watch just to see me ramble and interrogate the people on the podcast.
That sounds
Thoughts?
fun. That sounds fun.
Good luck, guys.
Yeah, they're gonna need it. They're very tolerant of me.
There's also this Market Watch. Did you want to do the Market Watch?
Yeah, that sounds very fun.
Because for some reason I put that with Nico Time. So, because you did Market Watch anyway. So, let's start with this. Captain Marvel 14.
All right, so this book is down. Like, down goes Frasier. $300 and 9.8, maybe a little bit more, which is kind of a shocker. This was, a super well-selling book just this time last year. It was commanding, huge numbers, and I'm shocked now that we've seen this kind of like collapse in the Kamala Khan, game. Now, this book, right, is not a really good first appearance of her, as everybody's well aware. But to see the bottom fall, but to see the bottom fall out that quick was kind of shocking for me.
What is that now? $300?
$300 ish.
Yeah.
300, 350, yeah.
I sent out 2 copies last year. Like, after I'd seen, I think the high was somewhere around 700 or 750, if I'm not mistaken. As soon as I seen it, I'm like, oh, I got a couple of these. Sent them out, got 2 9/8s, sold one, and at that point it was already at $500.
Oh wow!
So I sold one for $500, and I'm like, I'll keep the other one. Yeah, I should have sold it better.
I mean, he could rebound. They're supposed to make more movies. She's not going anywhere, but
but Nika's absolutely right. This is it is her first appearance, but it's a horrible first appearance.
Yeah.
It's, what is it? Her elbow?
Is this the arm one, or is this her as a child? Where they're like, no, that's her.
I think this is the arm one.
Yeah,
God,
I think
stupid.
it's the elbow or whatever at the refrigerator or something. It's awful.
Yeah. She-Hulk #1, selling for $400 average.
All right, so Keith has a buddy who's got how many copies?
Oh, he has over a long box full. I think last time he told me he had over 400 copies of this book. None of them graded. He's just keeping them. It's just his love affair book. But yeah, he has over 400 copies of this book.
Yeah, not a rare book. But look, I'm shocked. It's not going anywhere. The 9/8s are still moving, and they're moving every single day.
Yeah,
on
I
eBay.
think 400 is a good price for that book, for how plentiful it is, and I'm sure they're probably putting 20 to 100 copies on the census every single day of 9/8 of that book right now, because people are probably sending that thing in droves.
What you and I have noticed is that there are color variants, right? Like ink variants.
Well, I have missing some black ink. It's the only one I've ever seen, and I showed it to the person that has 400 plus copies, and they had never seen one like that. I put it up at the one show that we were at. It drew a lot of attention, but there's no taker on it. It's kind of an anomaly book.
Well, but look at the Spawn ones with no black ink.
Well, the black ink missing on that Spawn is a little bit different than the She-Hulk one I have. She's basically missing the black ink-ish in the upper left logo. It's not like the entire book is missing the black ink. So it's just like in a section of the book. It's real odd.
Yeah, now I have some that I've sold, actually sold them in Baltimore, that were missing ink too, but it was only like bad sprays. It was like 20% or like 40% of the cover.
Well, the thing that really jacked me about it was whenever I sent it out, I was actually, it is a 9496 book. I was actually expecting them to qualify it for the, black ink missing off of the front cover like they do most other manufacturing errors of that sort. Oh, they gave it a blue label and an 8.5, and they counted it as a defect of the book. It's actually in the grader's notes that it's missing black ink on the front cover. That was kind of interesting. So that really hurt me pricing it where I wanted to price it at, because no one wanted to pay that for an 8.5, to be honest, and I don't blame them.
The other book was Young Avengers 1, which in CGC 9/8 are selling for about $200.
Yeah, there's a ton of 9/8s. The thing I've been screaming about forever is that the variant that's in the toy has not got its own CGC census. I think if you can get a 9/8 of that not for resale variant, that may be the one to buy. Simply because the way that it was packaged in the toy has made it like impossible to get a 9/8. I don't even know if there are any 9/8s.
That was like wasn't that a 5-pack of toys or a 4-pack at least?
Yeah, it was like
a 4-pack.
Right.
Yeah,
it's
that box. That rectangle box. Yeah.
And they wedge it in there, and so like there's literally a
smashed.
Right.
Absolutely.
But this one's down, and I think the reason that I put this one up was to talk about the rumor about the Hawkeye miniseries getting canned. Now, Jimmy was the first person to alert me to the fact that Jeremy Renner had some personal problems, went through a divorce that was kind of ugly, and that may be the basis for it not having already started filming. I, for one, am super duper excited about Matt Fraction's run on Hawkeye being made into a television series. I loved that book. I know Jimmy did too.
Yeah, I read that it's not canned and that it's
thank God,
all just fake rumors. But I mean, who knows?
Perfect. I hope you're right.
That's why I put it on Rumor Mill. But I don't think that's why you put it on this list. But who knows if you did? Is there another book on this list? Oh yeah, this was your last book, Avengers. What is it? 48.
Yeah, this was a
48 CGC 9.0, which sold in a live auction on eBay for $605 recently.
Which is down. Keith, how much did you sell your 9.2 for, if you don't mind me asking?
$1,200, and I end up buying Action Comics 252 that After I pressed it, graded out at a 5.5 with that money.
Whoa.
So I was happy to sell that thing for that.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen like all of these
know.
Eternals related books down recently. Even the price variance for the what is it 1, 2. I can't remember what the Unimind book is.
12.
12.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're just all down. Particularly Dane Whitman.
Can you really that Eternals 12? Can you really sit there and honestly say to yourself, "Man, I'm the proud owner of Unimind. It's first appearance." And it's just it's an odd one to me.
It's all kind of strange, but the Eternals miniseries is like borderline unreadable.
Excuse me.
So, people can talk about how much they love it. It's a little much for me. I'm not the guy, but I do think that if we've seen anything, it's the guy from Stranger Things. His first appearance as the Red Guardian has maintained its price by and large. I mean, that pop was huge just because of the casting. I imagine that when we get a trailer for the Eternals and they've got the Game of Thrones guy on there as Dane Whitman, that we'll see a comparable groundswell. He's a beloved actor. And, I don't know that these are bad books necessarily to be buying right now, particularly at this price point.
I actually agree with you. I think the Avengers 47, 48, particularly the 48, will bounce back. I mean, you got to remember, $600 for that book. It's low right now in comparison to first out the gate. But that 9.2 that I bought, that 9.2 I bought it last year raw for $44.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the book's down right now, but it's really up a lot in comparison to what it was a year ago. So, it's unfortunate to the people that are buying high, but I think the people that bought high on this book will have a chance later on to either feel good about their purchase, because I think it will hit those high points again and maybe exceed it, or that's where they can, say, all right, I've had this book long enough, and, move on to something else without, too much hurt feeling. But there is still some room for these books in the higher grades.
Thoughts, Jimmy?
I'm not sure. It's not really one I think about, but I think Keith is spot on with his observations.
He generally is. He's a lot smarter than me, I'll tell you that much.
What else do we have going on? Oh, that was it for that. Okay, that was your segment. Nico's time is over. Okay,
makes sense.
Oh yeah, did you see what Boom was doing with their Power Ranger series? Have you guys heard anything about this Power Ranger Turtles mashup series? This is what, like the fourth mashup series of the of the Ninja Turtles. I mean, they've teamed up with what? The Justice League, Batman, and probably other ones too. But now they're teaming up with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Okay.
So Boom put out a big press release saying, "Hey guys, issue 3, big issue, because in this issue everything changes in the Power Ranger world because Shredder becomes the Green Ranger." Like, who knows? Like, the Green Ranger is evil or something in the show. I don't remember. I was 5 when I watched that or something. But so they're pushing issue 3.
Did
but
they
all
actually
the
do
issues
this in a TV show? I'm sorry.
No.
But I thought you said before a show.
No. Well, in the show, like, they had the Green Ranger was evil, and they had a whole, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, so
okay.
The first issue has sold out. The second issue is sold out, and I'm assuming the third one will too. But in the second issue is when he actually uses this. What are they called? They're called like dragon coins or whatever. Yeah, the dragon power coin, and that's when Shredder uses it, and he becomes the Green Power Ranger. So I don't know what Boom is doing with this, but it happened in issue 2. If you really care, I don't think it matters, man. All these books have sold out. But one thing I do find interesting is Boom is the first issue has gone to a second printing, and they've seemed to be taking a page out of Marvel's playbook, and they're doing a 1-in-10 ratio variant for the second print of number 1. So I think that's probably going to be under ordered. Final order cutoff was yesterday for that one.
Nice.
So Was it yesterday or today? I think it was yesterday.
Smart.
So
That's a good play, dude. I wish I would have known about that. That's a good one.
Like, it's not. I think it's selling for like. I think there might be some sales around $20, but the people who have sold them have quantity of them because they seem to have ordered a lot. But the Power Ranger helmet variants have done well on the secondary market, and I assume that this one will. I guess week of release will do well. Maybe it has long-term potential. I don't know. I'm staying away from it. I'm done with this Power Ranger stuff, though. It's stupid. Plus, like, who really cares about Shredder as the Green Ranger? And they're acting like this is how Shredder is always going to be, or possibly the Green Ranger is always going to be like this. I don't know, man, but it's weird.
I mean, I agree that that's stupid, but I like a play on a second print ratio variant. Maybe it's too early, but sometime in 2020 or 2021, one of those second, third print ratio nonsense books is going to take off because nobody's going to order them. People are already sick of it, and one's going to sneak in there, and it's going to be a stunner. That's my guess.
Yeah, I maybe. I don't even like these covers though.
Is this series just a mini series, or is it going to be canon?
It's a mini series, but I'm assuming it's canon for Power Rangers, just based on how the solicitations say that this is going to affect the future of the Power Rangers franchise. That's what it said in this. So I don't know. It's weird, but we'll see where it goes. Because again, like, I don't think this is a character that has legs. How can they have this character have legs at all? Plus, why are they pushing issue 3 if he appeared in on the last page of issue 2? So it's just bizarre, but it is what it is. Any other comments on Power Rangers Turtles? No? Good. I'm the only one who cares about that Ice Baby type of stuff. Which brings us into our Wednesday Warrior Guide for January 15th. This week sucks. Have you guys looked into any of the books that come out this week?
No.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. I know there's Iron Man 2020 that you wanted to talk about, and I didn't use the image for it. So did you want to say anything about that? Because, I mean, that's been speculated on for a few weeks now. Well, months now, probably.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so, I mean, Machine Man Volume 2, Number 2 has sold well because it's the first appearance of the Iron Man 2020, but who really cares about any of this stuff?
I certainly, God willing, don't have any copies left, but I'm sure I do.
I think I have a bunch. I mean, the book was a $1 book, and it started selling for $8, and I think it's now around $8 to $10. So, I mean, is it worth listing them? No. But
you could do what Keith taught me to do, which is like put 5 of them together and be like investment pack and sell them that way.
Yeah,
that's right. It makes it worth selling. It makes it worth buying. Get out.
Yeah, see, that would probably work. But I don't have it in me to do. But another book that people are jumping on is Avengers 29. This book sold out at the distribution level. So what happens in this is it is the first appearance of this new character called the War Widow. It also has it also reintroduces a Star Brand character. It isn't clear if it's a new Star Brand character or if it's like bringing back an old Star Brand character. But Star Brand is alive and well. And I mean, Star Brand first appearance is what? Star Brand 1. It sells for 50 cents to $1. Not a book I would pick up.
But there's actually, I think it's one of those Amazing Heroes books, like those.
Oh yeah, that's true, and it's in one of the articles, right?
I think it's on the cover. He's on the cover. The Star Brand is on the cover. I think I came across it the other day in the dollar bin, and I threw it at my buddy. I'm like, "Here, buy this." because I didn't want it.
Yeah, I mean, the books aren't worth anything.
Yeah.
Star branded. I don't know if this is going to do anything either, but I mean, there's been a few sales above cover on this. You can still find them for cover. I bought 5 at Midtown for cover. I'm sure that when I get them, they'll be dollar books. So, but again, this week sucks. So I had to talk about something. What else we had? We already talked about Boom pushing speculators. I think that's why they did the whole Shredder Power Ranger thing. But who knows? The Red Mother issue 2 comes out this week. So does the 3rd print of issue 1. And there's a secret variant for issue 2. It's the red cover, the red logo cover. And I think he's like character is all red instead of having a white face, right? His eyes are different.
That's what it looks like.
There's one sale at $10.
Let me ask you this, Jimmy. Is there some sort of like, I can be a Boom retailer, trusted retailer thing that's happening with Boom
Yeah.
now?
No, Boom's
What
been
is
doing
that
that.
shit?
Boom's been doing that for a while. I think it means like you have more returnability, and they send you one of those giant.
They get displays.
Yeah, those display things. Because remember they used to. No, that was Image that did the logos. But yeah, no, Boom. They send you that big display, and I think it's something about returnability. Every time I've gone to a Diamond Summit, they bring it up. But usually
No
when
one
I'm at a
cares.
Diamond Summit, I'm like, can you guys just hurry up so I can get the free books and get out of here? So I can't remember. I really can't. But
Hard to argue with that logic.
they do
huh?
push it, and most of it is about most of what they talk about is returnability and being there for retailers. So I think that it's more that they just have like somebody that you can email all the time, and they'll be like, "This is a good book. We're sending you 10 copies of this. You'll pay for 5." And I think they do deals like that. I could be wrong, but Boom is really different in the way that they service retailers. But yeah. Last book. It's another stupid book. No sales online. This is the 1 in 10 variant for Marvel Action Avengers. And I don't think anybody orders 10 copies of this book. And if they do, like,
Who
why
does
would
that
they?
cover?
It's this new artist that she's. I found her on Twitter, so she has some kind of social media gathering, but I've never heard of her before, so I can't remember her name.
I've never
But,
seen that before. I got nothing. Yeah, but
yeah,
I like the idea of a 1
I
in
don't
10.
think it's the greatest cover. But again,
No.
I the only way I was able to find the image was looking on her Instagram, or I think it was her Twitter. So I don't see any retailers really ordering this copy. I know Midtown had one and it sold out, but I don't know any other retailers that would order 10 copies of this book.
Yeah, check my comic shop.
Yeah, they could have it too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't order them. I'm just saying, like, I think this is a book to just watch and see what happens.
Not a bad play.
Nice.
But I don't, like, again, this week sucks, which is why I only had those 3 books to talk about, and all 3
Nice
of them
job.
were completely garbage. Except like the Red Mother one, of course you got to talk about that because it's a secret variant. But aside from that, like, I mean, this
I like
week
the Avengers
sucks.
book. That I think that's a smart one.
Who's
I think
ordering
that's a
10
smart
copies
play.
of this? Like,
I
come
mean,
on.
that's my point. That's why I think it's a smart play.
And
Yeah,
the picture
I like
is her
that.
comp, so you can see that she got quite a few comps of this book. So that's how comps work, boys and girls. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
And now you know.
I'm not a fan of this week. What else do we have going? Oh, Keith, you see how I have a new graphic for Keith?
Yeah,
Keith sent
it's
me
awesome.
he sent me a bunch of things he wanted to talk about because I believe I ran through most of I ran through most of your outline,
Okay.
which was great. But what do we have for Keith? So Keith, you wanted to talk about this one, right? Batman 567.
Yeah. Well, all these books basically have to do with the Birds of Prey movie coming up. Their first appearances in all of them are just they're just miserably just falling back from what they were a couple of years ago on their highs. This book in particular, which is the first appearance of Cassandra Cain, who becomes the new Batgirl in Batman Legends of Dark Knight 120. The last sale on the CGC 98 was $135, and that was just December of 2019. The high last year was $340, and that was at the beginning of the year. The high of 2018 was $455. I mean, I know books go up and down, but to be 1/3 of your all-time high, that's bad. These books should be peaking right now, considering how close we are to this movie, and all of them are just they're not even close to what their highs are. Wow. So that's it for that book. Which one's next?
Secret Origins of Superheroes 17.
Okay, this one hasn't tanked as much. This one, and I'm talking specifically about the 9.6. It's down a good $100 from its high. This one is the probably the best book out of the bunch of them. The high on the 9.6 has been about 380, and the low was 245 from 2018. The low for 2019 was 288. So it's kind of lingering there. It's supposed to be the first appearance of the Huntress. There's people also say that All-Star Comics number 69 is the first appearance of the Huntress as well. It's kind of a which one came out first, because I think they may have even come out the same week or have been a week later. There's been no proof, but it says, you know, this is introduction of the Huntress, and the same with All-Star Comics 69. On the cover, it says introducing the Huntress as well, and she's on the last panel, the last page of the book. But this has always been the bigger of the two books. It is down $100 from its high in 9.6. 9.8s are tracking close to the same of what they were. So if you have this book in the 9.8, you're still doing all right. You know, any book's going to fluctuate a little bit, but the 9.6, you know, is down 100 on this one. Okay.
Yep. Sorry, I apologize. The next one we had was the first Black Mask, right?
Okay. Yes. All right. The 9.4 is just for example purposes only. 9.8 last sale was $329, and that was this year already. Last year the high was $498, so we're down $170 from its high already. Now last year in itself had a 233 low. There's just a lot of fluctuation on these books, and like I said before, they should be peaking right now considering how close we are to the movie, not halfway through their descent. This being the first appearance of the Black Mask, you know, the villain in the Birds of Prey movie. You would think that this would be tracking a little bit higher. 9.6 is now. 2018 was the best year for a 9.6. It was at 277. Last sale, 130. So anyone that was buying these books, it seemed like 2018. I'm guessing it was the tail end of 2018 that invested high on these or not getting the return that they're expecting. This book's you'd think it'd just be a little bit higher, just being a first appearance Batman character to begin with in the main Batman title, but that's not the case. All right. Wow. Okay, here's the All-Star Comics 69. First appearance of Huntress as well. Probably cameo. I'm not even going to get into that debate. Last sale on it, we're specifically talking about a 9.6 on this one. The 9.6 last sale was December of 2019, $153. And the high last year was $275, and 2018 had the biggest high of $350 for a 9.6, and now you're at $153. So,
Jesus.
Yep, you might want to hold on to that one for a couple of years, let it rebound. And what else we got? Should be a couple more. Okay. Black Canary, Oracle, Birds of Prey one shot. Now this is technically the first appearance of Birds of Prey. Some people will say that it's the Showcase 96 number 3, but this came out prior to. This seems like the one that most people gravitate towards as the first appearance of Birds of Prey. We're going with the 9.8 pricing on this one. Last sold was this year already, January, for $170 for a 9.8. Now, I sold one last year for $270, and that was already on a big descent from its high of $425.
Oh.
So all these books, with the couple exceptions, are about 1/3 of their high. And I'm not laughing. I feel bad that people, you know, pay the high points on these and are not retaining any value. It happens to everyone. Don't feel bad. Hopefully, you didn't buy everything at the high point, but these are pretty wretched in comparison to what they were at one point. And I think we have one more, pal. Yes. Batman, Legends of the Dark Knight, number 120. This is the first appearance of Cassandra Cain as the new Batgirl in costume. We're going with 9/8 on this book. 9/8 last sold this year for $100. That seems like a good entry price, a buy-in price. If you were the unfortunate one in 2018, again, this all the information is 2018, 2019, end of 2018 must have been the high point everywhere. $555 for the high of a 9/8 on this book. Yes. It tanked very fast last year. The 2019 numbers, I don't have how many books were traded in 9/8, but I do have the highs and lows. The high was only $190 in 2019. So it dropped significantly from that, first out the gate to get the big money. The low last year was $63 for a graded 9/8. So so that's my Birds of Prey wrap up that should be hitting all-time highs right now, or close to the all-time high numbers, yet they are, I think these are sinking faster than a rock in a river.
Rats.
Wow. Holy cow.
You also took a look at the MyComicShop auction, something that we usually don't. So do you want to talk about that a little bit too?
Yeah, I didn't. I have some of the information.
I love that book, dude.
So yeah, you sent me a few of them. The first book you sent me was what, Richie Rich 1?
Yeah, no, I didn't get a chance. I didn't get a chance to check GPA or anything like this. And I know it's a raw book, but I like to, on books like this, you don't see it trade often. So you generally have to go to GPA or something like that to kind of get an idea of where it's at. Whenever I sent these over to you, in lieu of Nico, to fill in his spot in case he didn't get his books in on time, you said never mind, don't worry about it or whatever. I didn't do all the research needed, so I apologize. But this book right here,
well, I just thought like you sent me a few books, and I thought, well, we might as well use them.
No, that's fine.
So we can go through them. I think it was a good sale. I don't know what they sell for, but I mean, it sold for what, $1,225.
Yes, for a raw book. Now, anyone that's dealing with MyComicShop generally knows on their raw books that they're very strict with their grading. And now I've heard it from both people. Like if you go on like a CGC forum or something like that, you'll hear someone complain about their grading. All my experience with them and the most experiences that I know of people typically say that their grading is very strict. So you buy with confidence whenever you buy a raw book with them. This
it's gorgeous.
For 4.0, I mean,
I don't know what the back looks like.
It was about the same. Now there's looks like a heavy amount of foxing on the right side.
Okay.
That
and the top staple
is popped. So I agree with the grade on this. It's a well presenting copy. $1,200. The book just does not trade that often. That was one I was keeping my eye on. I did not bid on this book at all, but it was one that I was tracking. Yeah. I was going to check the GPA numbers against it.
Yeah, I think they do this. They do this auction 4 times a year?
Yes, this is their prime auction. The next one will be probably, I think, April. Yeah. Beginning of April will probably be the next one. Now, this book, I had never seen this before.
So, Confessions of Love #1. Yes. Should Bride Be Virgins cover, and it looks like it says anal instead of April. So this was a 4.0. It sold for just under $800. It's $798.
Wow.
And it says that it's restored.
Yeah, it's restored.
Wow. Yeah, no, there's a couple of tear seals to this. Now, I actually did some research on this book because I was a bidder on this. I tapped out at $725. It's a digest size book.
Okay.
It's 7.25 by 5.5. It's 132 pages. It's a square bind. I found one on eBay, and I guess someone else was watching this in the auction because they quickly bought it at $120. Now, the copy on eBay was trash. It looked like it got rode over by a vehicle. It had no back cover. And the person even said that it could be missing multiple pages. They were too lazy to check, is what the description said. And it sold for $120.
Wow.
So that was the only thing I really had to go off of. There's in the CGC census, there's only 2 copies of this book in the CGC census. One was a 7.5, and the other one was a 7.0. The 7.0 traded in November of 2011 for almost $500.
Wow.
The guide has this at like $150 in 4.0 shape, like 230 if I'm just remembering off the top of my head, in 6.0 shape, and it said Baker-ish art. So it was never confirmed that it's Baker, but it just looked like an amazing cover. I'm like, man, I really got to take a shot at this, and I actually thought I was going to win. Now you can't snipe on MyComicShop. If there's 3 minutes left in the auction,
it's like Comic Link, right?
Yeah, anytime you bid, there's another. Let's say that there's a minute and a half left, and that's when you bid. It starts over at 3 minutes again. So there's no sniping.
Is that Comic Link or Comic Connect that does that?
I'm not sure.
One of them.
But I was very interested in this book. The tear seals, I could see where they were at. They're in the top, and there's one on the side. I was just going to basically rip them open again and send it out so I can get it universal. Because as long as the glue's not holding anything, bless you. As long as the glue's not holding nothing, they can't give you a restored label on it. I was very confident with that. I just didn't know where the top end of this book could be. Considering that it was restored, I figured I could do a lot better. Like if I was actually going to hold on to the book for a while because I thought it was pretty neat. But whenever I would get around to sell it, I just didn't know where to tap out at. So unfortunately, I tapped out at 7 1/4, and someone I'm sure will enjoy that. But it's not something that's going to come up too often.
Super cool.
All right. Now this book I try to buy every chance I get. They had this graded as a raw 7.0. Looking at the scans, I personally felt that after a press, like I couldn't see any pressable defects in the book. You're not going to see that from their scans. There's like no heavy creasing or anything like that on this book. I personally felt like it could get an 8.5, 9.0, excuse me, after press. Possibly a 9.2, but you're only making that assumption by looking at a front and back scan. The back cover had a lot of dirt on it. I'm not sure why MyComicShop called this a 7.0, but it went for 9.2 graded price. It went for $1,511. The last 9.2 graded copy of this sold for $1,600. So to buy this at that price and not even know that you're going to get a 9.2 out of it, that's crazy to me. That's crazy. I was really surprised by this. I was a player on this to about $800 because an 8.5 is 8 1/4 right now, and 9.0 is $1,000 or $1,100. I knew that if I could get it to the point where I thought I could, that's where I would invest it. After that, that's a crapshoot. Someone might get lucky and get a 9.4 out of this after a press grade. I'm not saying that that's not possible, but that was just an extremely high price point to me for a raw 7.0. I was shocked. I thought that this would probably end about 900. That was my estimate. I couldn't believe it. It just kept on getting bid on. And I moved on. And I came back to it. I'm like, wow, I could not believe that 1511 was the final stamp price. So whoever gets that, I hope they get a 9.4. Honestly, it was a gorgeous looking book, but when I'm buying something like that, I'm not doing it to break even.
Very interesting.
And again, with this one, did you put any of the other pictures I had of this book on the front and back cover?
No.
Okay. This book, this is another one that I went after. I tapped out at 2,800. They graded it as a 6.5. The front cover is absolutely gorgeous.
Wow.
The back cover is gorgeous as well, but there was some overspray on the right side and a little bit on the top. It was not the obnoxious overspray that you see on some books where it looks like someone spilled a bucket of paint all over it.
Yeah.
It was not obnoxious at all. I estimated that it, 7.075 range, and that's what I bid appropriately to, the 7.0 price, graded price actually. The last 7.0 graded price was $2,800. That's where I decided to tap out at. When it was at 32, I was really questioning if I should just go just a little bit more. What did it end up at? 36.50, somewhere around there, which is the last graded 8.0 price.
Damn.
So that's a lot of risk, on books like that. When you're paying that raw price, you're paying 3 grades higher, because they have us at a 6.5. You're paying the 7.0, 7.5, 8.0 price on a raw book, and on a very common book. Now, it was a gorgeous looking book. But yeah, these some of these auction results really really surprised me, actually. So there's a good healthy market out there, and the money's there, the right venues and everything.
Nice.
I think that's it for that book.
Oh. And this was your last one that you had.
Okay. This one I didn't get a chance to check GPA either.
Damn.
9.
Damn.
House of Secrets. Number 1, a 9.2 doesn't trade that off. Now this book, I know for a fact it is very low, in comparison to what the book was last year. I actually have a graded 9.0 white page, and
wow,
I was offered $4,500 for it for my copy. I didn't sell it because I didn't think I'd ever be able to replace it, to be honest with you. This one is not a white pager. I think it's off-white to white. It's off-white to white. But I was really shocked at the $3,800 price tag for a 9.2. This should be $5,000-$6,000.
I'm shocked, man.
It's an extremely, extremely, extremely tough book to find. And anything over than an 8.0.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah. No, like I said, I didn't get a chance to check the GPA numbers on it. I know that the book's been on the slide, but I figured even on now I was not a player on this book, but I figured even with this book being on the slide that the upper grade would hold, and it didn't. I mean, don't get me wrong, closing in on $4,000's a large chunk of money.
Yeah, I mean, it's not chump change, but dude, I've never seen a 9.2 like in person ever.
Yeah. It was a nice looking book. I thought it would at least hit 5. I was shocked.
Damn.
But yeah, that was it for your GPA books.
Cool.
We also had the rumor mill. So do you want to get into that at all? I mean, you started with Hawkeye, Nico.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that one. It appears, at least from our commenters and the information that you've received, that it looks like Haley Steinfeld is apparently locked up in an Apple deal. Is that
maybe? I don't know.
Accurate? That's at least the suggestion. I don't know. But suffice to say, I'm hoping that is, as they say on television, fake news. We shall see. I'd really love to see the Fraction run make it to Disney Plus. Really like to see a Kang Young Avengers story arc. And it seems like, at least from how I've heard the WandaVision series described, that we'll get Speed and Wiccan in some iteration in that series. So.
You also want to talk about what Emily Blunt is allegedly being cast for an MCU movie?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Medusa or Sue Storm. I know that people have long wanted her to be Sue Storm. They do all those sorts of like John Krasinski, Mr. Fantastic, Emily Blunt, Sue Storm celebrity casting things, and sometimes that's just fantasy and not rumor. Other times it turns out being true, but we're actually hearing that being rumored. So we shall see.
And then we talked about this. About Christian Bale being cast?
Yeah, more and more rumors there. So there's what is it? How do I say it? Argus, or
I don't know.
whatever.
You wrote it down, not me.
Yeah, there's the character from the Thor series. It's like Christian Bateman turns into a Minotaur. That's at least who people have suggested initially he was going to play, because they thought a lot of it would be CGI. And then, there have been some people that have talked about the Silver Surfer as a potential role. And now, after the Spider-Man Morbius poster, people are like, he's going to be Norman Osborn. And I think that that's just silly. But it's certainly making its rounds on the internet.
And then what? Also, we've heard that apparently Roy Harper, Oracle, and Lex Luthor are appearing in the third season of Titans.
Yeah, that's from a reliable, trusted source that you and I have come to really appreciate. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Is Roy Harper going to be Arsenal? I'd really love to get rid of some of these Teen Titan 99s I have.
Yeah, they didn't say. There's like 3 characters for that. It could be Red Arrow too.
Okay.
So who knows? They haven't really. Yeah. No, but like when I looked into that, I was like, I'm not going to write about this. There's too many options. I
Sure.
like. That's why like even at the Christian Bale thing, and the Emily Blunt thing, it's like who cares? I don't. And that's what brings me to this next one too, because this one a bunch of people have been talking about this, and it's just I don't care. But Doctor Strange has a casting call for a female villain role and a male villain role.
Yeah. So who do we think?
I don't know. You tell me. I don't look into it that much. I don't really.
Brother Voodoo
Okay.
for the male actor who the casting call was for an African-American male, appropriately aged. And then what's her name? It should be on the outline there.
Cleo.
Yeah,
Cleo.
It wasn't a villain.
No, but I think that the hope is, or at least the spec is that that's how she'll initially appear, and then there'll be kind of a heel turn sort of plot. But
I don't know. I don't recall her ever really being a villain.
Yeah, I don't know.
She's always like been, Doctor Strange's love interest, actually.
Right. Well, and they're saying
Do you think there's a possibility of Enchantress?
Yeah. So people talk Enchantress, and then who was the other character that was on Runaways? Come on now.
Come on now to us.
I was hoping
You
you
brought
guys
it
would remember.
up.
Yeah, there's
no idea what you're talking about.
Somebody in the live chat will maybe remember.
They won't know. They're going to be like Hablo Espanol.
No, on the Runaways TV show, there's
Hablo Espanol.
a female villain.
Fin Fan Foom.
Good one.
I thought it was a good one, okay? Because again, Morgan Fay.
Morgan Le Fay. Thank you.
Okay.
I knew somebody to remember the name. Yeah, I mean, you hear all these things, and I can't substantiate any of them as being 100% true. I do just want to know that they're circulating, if for no other reason than for our viewers to know that they can move these books if they decide. That there's other people that are hearing these rumors that are far less skeptical than myself, and probably our listeners, and that they're willing to buy them. So that's kind of my thought. One last thing, for sure, Diaz Comics from the Golden Guys will be on Nico Time Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He's super sharp. If you've not had an opportunity to watch the Golden Guys podcast, I'd really encourage you to do that. It's on after we are. Sometimes we run back to back, but the point is, those guys are really smart about comics, and they really do a good job of freely discussing the things that they enjoy and they love about the hobby. And it'll be a lot of fun to sit down and talk with him on Saturday.
Cool.
That sounds like fun. Sure. But yeah, I guess that's all we had for this episode. I like doing this podcast. I mean, it could be a pissing contest as such. We could always try to pull contests and to get like our sub count up or something, and
I'll
to
give
try to
away
do-
books.
and try to do like pissy moves. But I mean, I really find that kind of stuff to be petty and
Wow.
irrelevant and hilarious. But
I'll still
I
give
mean,
away books.
that's all I want to say about that. And
Fair enough.
I mean, I'm looking forward to next week. So I don't know. Okay, cool. We'll catch you all now
Keith, you're a
next
stud.
week, I
We
guess. Oh yeah,
appreciate
Keith,
you.
thanks for joining us.
No
You're
problem.
here next week.
Thanks for having me.
John,
Thanks for
usually tells us,
tolerating
like-
me.
Well, it's me.
You weren't bad.
tolerating.
You weren't bad this week, buddy.
Oh, thanks.
But yeah, John will hopefully
I'm
be
looking
here
for
next
an
week.
underhanded comment.
I don't know. Will
you,
John?
you took your Ritalin this week, huh?
That was our secret.
Okay, we'll catch you guys later.
All right,
now.
take it easy, guys.
That